How are you doing?
Good to see you.
So here we are in Nottingham
with
Steve Benford, and just to give you some background, can you tell me a bit about your research previously?
For the fellowship, I was mostly interested in researching kind of technologies that could enable new sorts of cultural, creative experiences, and that meant working a lot with external artist groups who would come with a vision of some kind of interactive performance or mobile experience they wanted to make.
Tell me about your research then, Steve.
Yeah, so what drives me is making the technologies to support new kinds of cultural, creative experience that people might have. This might be kind of artistic installations, kind of theatrical performances, new kind of games, for example. But what drives me is how can we rethink human-computer interaction to support those kinds of experiences.
And what made you apply for the fellowship itself?
So what made me apply for the fellowship was I've been doing following this thread of research for quite a long time, so 10, 15 years. I was already engaged, I suppose, with the outside world, with kind of artist groups who were kind of working at the cutting edge of experience, and we've been making and studying things, and that had allowed me to introduce quite a lot of concepts about how these things work. And what I wanted to do was actually, if you like, test them in practice a bit more. I wanted to kind of go slightly to the kind of hard end of where creative experiences are being made almost commercially, and find out whether my ideas had got any sort of traction, really, whether what I was doing made any sense to the world, and if they did, great, how could I give them more impact, and if they didn't, why? Should I change my thinking or whatever?
And tell me then, during your fellowship, do you think you've affected other people as well as yourself?
I think I would hope so. I mean, in two ways. Firstly, a little bit the organisations I've been visiting. They're big organisations, certainly some of them, and so to affect them is quite a hard thing. But so I spent some time at the BBC in particular, and I think I was visiting there for kind of 3 or 4 months, but actually since then kind of followed up with other bits of the organisation, and it feels like some of the ideas we were talking about were interested in carrying on with. So there's a little bit of effect there. It also affected other people I worked with at Nottingham. So one of the things I did was I took some of my PhD students along with me, essentially as interns, if you like. So it wasn't only me visiting these places, but some of the students were visiting at the same time. And I think that was really good as well. Do
you do anything different now? Now you've sort of had these ideas, or?
As we speak, my fellowship probably essentially is just about the halfway stage, maybe a bit over. So it's probably a little bit early to really pull out how it's transformed what I do next. At the moment, I'm still trying to push hard to find different ways to connect some of the theories we have in our field into practice, and I'm sort of trying out different ways of engaging with organisations to turn this theoretical stuff into something they can use. So they range from trying to run structured courses around some of them, for example, and invite people to do this, to making some new tools that actually embed some of the ideas. But yeah.
Sorry, so work in progress. So we're going to look forward to what's in the planning. So perhaps you give us a hint of what the next things.
Yeah. So I guess in this kind of first phase, the engagements I've done have been with kind of large companies, BBC and kind of Microsoft, and with R&D departments as well, although connected into obviously kind of more mainstream organisations. And that's been great. It's been really exciting and sort of productive. I feel that I ought to, certainly if I'm serious about creative industries, think about how to engage with smaller organisations. I think a lot of the excitement in creativity happens probably in smaller places, and so that would make a really interesting contrast. Now, what they'll be and how I'll find the right ones, I think, is something that I need to ponder over the next couple of months. But at the moment, sitting here today, that's my sense of what would kind of give me a bit more of the picture, I think.
So how long have you been in Nottingham, Steve?
I've been in Nottingham for 24 years.
Long time.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah.
Is it a good place for sparking off your innovation?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we've got lawn mowing or drilling happening out there, haven't we? One or the other. Yeah, I mean, when I first, arrived in Nottingham, there kind of wasn't a computer science department, so I think must have been one of the first 10 people, maybe one of the first 6 or 7, sitting in a porter cabin with this absolutely fledgling ground zero department. And so it's been great, firstly, to watch that grow to what it is today, and it's been a really exciting time. But secondly, it made it a very open place. It was absolutely possible, I think, to go and explore stuff we wanted to do. So when we started doing work with poets and performers and engaging in, I think what for computer science even now is relatively unusual, and certainly in 1996 really was unusual. It kind of wasn't a problem. I think there wasn't in computer science almost an establishment against which you'd have to justify yourself. I'm not sure what it would be like now if I was a PhD student justifying myself to someone like me. Whether it would work the same way.
Thanks very much.